Please like this video. I really need your support right now. It's the only way this story can reach more people. Thank you so much for being here with me and for your support. 3 buzzes hit my pocket in the middle of the money slide. 42nd floor, glass on 3 sides, the lake a sheet of blue metal below us. The developer's team sat in a row, ties loose, eyes on the rendering of a courtyard that was going to sell their pre-leases. I'd been speaking 20 minutes without a breath. Then my phone went again, and again. I glanced down. From Lauren. We need to talk about us. Next line, a new bubble. I made a list of what's wrong with you. You have 8 days to prove you're worth keeping. Then a file. 8 bullet points. Boring. Work over family. No romance. Lost shape. No drive. The kind of list you make when you're not trying to fix anything, just setting up a test you can score. I slid the phone face down. The client asked about the courtyard trees. I answered by memory, voice steady, eyes clear. For once I wasn't going to bleed for someone else's drama. If I'd known what those 8 days would do to my life, I would have saved a clean shirt for the end. I finished the pitch without a stumble. When they started bargaining, I didn't do my usual dance. I stopped smiling, laid out our numbers, said what was a yes and what was a no. That got them to their pens. Dana Mercer, my mentor who'd pulled me into this firm a decade ago, leaned back in her chair like she'd been waiting 10 years to see me finally stop apologizing. When the signatures were dry, I picked up my phone and typed back. Interesting. Then I'll evaluate you for 8 days too. I hit send. No emoji. No explanation. Dana raised an eyebrow. Everything good at home? It's on evaluation, I said. I capped the pen and slid the contracts across. Whatever that means. Keep it out of the workroom, she said, but she was half smiling. Just did, I told her. In the elevator down, I read Lauren's list. It was neat, like she'd done versions of it before. I could hear her voice in every bullet, a tone that presents preference as law. I thought about the years I'd put my plans through her filter like a kid asking permission to go outside. It wasn't even anger I felt. More like someone had finally turned the lights on in a room I knew too well. On the street, I bought running shoes from a shop a block over, pointed to a plain pair, paid cash. On the way home, I stopped in the garage and pulled my old guitar case from a dusty shelf. The latch was stiff. The wood smelled dry, like a closed attic. At the house, Lauren was in the kitchen, laptop open, a candle burning in the middle of the island like we were doing a seance for our marriage. You're late, she said without looking up. And you didn't text. Worked late. Bought running shoes. Starting tomorrow. You said I let myself go, fixing it. I put the box on the bench next to my bag and set the guitar case by the door. She glanced at the case. Now, I said. I hung my jacket. And about your message. She closed the laptop like a judge closing a file. Finally, you started an evaluation, I said, taking a glass from the rack and filling it with tap water. I'm running mine. We'll compare notes at the end. That's not what I meant. She stepped toward me, palms open. We need a serious talk. Not this. She gestured at me like I was a misbehaving intern. We will, I said. After 8 days. She stared. You can't flip this on me. I'm not flipping. I'm agreeing to your process. But it's two-way. New rule. She waited for me to laugh. I didn't. She turned away with a tight shrug. Fine. Eat. I ordered your favorite. I'll make eggs, I said. I cracked 2, slid them into a pan, and felt the house change temperature by 5 degrees. She didn't speak while I ate. I didn't speak while she waited. When I took my plate to the sink, she said, "This isn't how adults handle it." Adults don't text ultimatums during critical meetings, I said. Clock started. I slept like a rock and woke before the alarm. At 5:45, I was on the lakefront path, breath making small clouds in the dark. Chicago wakes up in layers. Early runners, then bikes, then dogs. I ran a slow loop to Navy Pier and back, my knees reminding me I'm 40, my mind reminding me I'm not done. Back home, I made oatmeal, 2 slices of turkey, coffee black. Lauren stayed upstairs longer than usual. When she came down, I was at the table answering emails. She leaned on the doorframe. You didn't ask what I wanted for breakfast. I made mine, I said. You're in a mood. I'm in a plan. She watched me chew. Fine. Are you still picking up my dry cleaning? No. I have a meeting at 12. Then grab it before, I said, closing the laptop. I'm biking in. She shook her head as if I'd told her the toaster was moving out. Since when are you this unilateral? Since yesterday at 2:10 p.m., I said, and zipped my bag. At the office, Dana tapped her watch at me. You were due at 9. It's 8:55. She smirked. I know. Wanted to see if you'd flinch. She motioned to her glass box of an office. Boston. End of week. A hospital wing. They're a mess. They need a calm hand. You free to fly Thursday night? Old me would have said, let me check with Lauren. New me said, yes. Block it. Now you're useful, Dana said. You lead. Don't outsource decisions. At lunch, I met Mike Alvarez at a diner 2 blocks over. Mike is barrel-chested, a former rugby guy who sells software now and remembers birthdays. Lauren often needed me, exactly when he invited me to anything. He slid into the booth. You look less dead. New shoes, I said. In a situation. Say less, eat more. He stabbed at his salad. Dana still your guardian angel? She gave me Boston. Good. You've been under glass for a while. I took a breath. Be honest. Has Lauren ever blocked you and me on purpose? He chewed. Eyes on me. You want the friend answer or the polite one? Friend. She's been running interference for years, he said. There was a phase where you had a stomach bug every other Saturday. That last charity game? I asked. Right before, she texted me you were too wiped to come, he said. Then I saw you post a picture of laundry. Laundry man. He dabbed his mouth. And, look, this is ugly, but you asked. She talks about you. To people. Everyone vents, I said, but my voice was flat. This isn't venting. It's a narrative. At her office happy hours, at her stylist. You're the guy who lost his spark, who doesn't keep up, who doesn't deliver. He lowered his voice. Even private stuff. Not cool. Let me pause the story for just a second. If you're still here, please hit the like button. It really helps YouTube recommend this story to more people. Thank you so much for your support. Now, let's get back to the story. How sure? 2 separate sources. One is my wife's friend. One is a guy on her team who quit last month. They weren't gossiping. They were concerned. I stared at the ketchup bottle. So I'm a 3-act play at her salon. He watched me, waiting to see if I'd explode. I didn't. Thanks, I said. Squarely. You going to talk to her? I'm going to act, I said. Talk can come after. He nodded. There he is. Back home, Lauren had something in the oven. She put her phone down, smile ready. I ordered your favorite. Thought we could reset. Appreciate the thought, I said, taking off my watch. And I need to address something. She blinked fast. We can do that soon. I booked a place for Saturday too. Just us. New start. Who have you been talking to about me? I asked. At work. At your salon. She stiffened. They're not strangers. They're my circle. Not the question. She tried a laugh that didn't reach her face. Are we really doing this right now, when I made an effort? Years, I said. Other people know our private business better than I do. You chose an audience instead of a conversation. They care about me, she said. You had a spouse, I said. You used him as material. She folded her arms. So this is you punishing me by running and buying shoes. This is me making decisions without your approval. And setting a boundary. You talk about me to your circle, the circle becomes smaller. Meaning what? You'll see. She waited for an apology that wasn't coming. The food smelled fine, but it tasted like negotiation. When I put my plate in the dishwasher, she followed me down the hall. I'm trying here, she said, hand on my sleeve. I see you trying to keep control, I said. You picked the time of my presentation for the list. You picked an audience for my flaws. You picked a restaurant for Saturday. I'm picking Boston. What's in Boston? Work, I said. Thursday to Saturday. It's already booked. You didn't ask. I told you yesterday. New rules. She didn't like hearing the word rules back. She tried softer. I don't want to lose us, Ethan. Then don't treat me like an employee, I said, and went upstairs. The look she gave my back wasn't hurt. It was calculation. Boston was a shot of oxygen. New site, new team, no domestic scoreboard. I walked the hospital shell with the construction lead, corrected 2 alignment issues, saved them a headache. In the afternoon, I sat with the board, laid out a clean path, and they nodded like I was water in the desert. Afterward, the CEO asked to see me alone. You ever consult privately? He asked, hands in his pockets, looking out over the river. Through the firm. What about you as you, he said. Architect Ethan Cole. Advisory. 2 days a month. Neutral opinion. That would violate my agreement with the firm, I said. Not if the firm also benefits, he said. We'll make it clean. Think on it. I said I would. I knew I wouldn't need much thinking. That night, I took a walk along the river. Boston's water is narrower than ours, but it's still a mirror for a man who's avoiding a hotel TV. My phone buzzed. Unknown number. I let it go to voicemail. Then a text came in. This is Renee. I'm married to Aaron, who used to work with Lauren. I felt weird calling, but can we talk? I called her back. I don't want details, I said. Just facts. She spoke quietly. It's not my style to get in the middle, but I've heard her say things about you for years. It's, personal, unfair, like she needs people to see her carrying everything. My husband asked me not to say anything, but I'd want to know. How far does it go? Holidays. Your bedroom. Your body. The way you eat. I'm sorry. It was jarring. Thank you, I said. That's enough. No one deserves that, she said, and hung up. I watched a tour boat crawl by. My life had been narrated like a reality show I hadn't consented to, and she'd sent me a list. I wrote Lauren, we'll talk Saturday about your talks at work. No question mark. No anger. Just a notice. I flew back Saturday morning. The house was staged like a magazine cover. Candles. Soft music. She'd put out our wedding album, and my old guitar was propped casually against the wall like a rescue puppy. She wore a black dress she knows shuts rooms up. She stepped toward me with a smile that expected gratitude. Reservation at 8. You look tired. Sit. I'll rub your shoulders. We're not going out, I said, taking my coat off and draping it on the chair. We're going to sit here and answer one question. Ethan, how long have you been telling people I drag you down? I asked. She flinched like I'd kicked a prop. I don't say that. Different words, same message. Colleagues. Your stylist. Wives of colleagues. Pick. They're not randoms, she said. They're invested in me. In you, I said. Not in us. They were there for me when you weren't, she said. You were always at work. You picked my busy hours to humiliate me, I said. Like Thursday. Mid-pitch, you send a list and a deadline. That's not a cry for help. That's control. So your solution is to ignore me, run away to Boston, and come home to, what? A trial. My solution is stillness. Facts, I said, sitting. Years of isolation plays. Headaches when Mike invited me. Bad weekends when my parents visited. Mysterious errands when we had plans with anyone who liked me as I am. You wrote a story with me as the punchline. I let you. That's over. She lowered herself onto the couch opposite me like she'd been told to. I got scared, she said. You were slipping away. And you thought pushing my head lower would keep me from leaving, I said. It worked for a while. Her eyes went shiny. I'm sorry. I accept the words, I said. The behavior is the point. Just tonight, she said. Let's have one good night. I booked the place a month out. Let me try. No, I said, and took my phone out. I canceled the reservation in front of her. My try is different. What does that do? Her composure cracked. Humiliate me? It sets the line, I said. We don't do public theater right now. We do truth. So what do you want? I'm packing a bag and I'm staying at Mike's for a week, I said. You started an 8-day evaluation. I'm using it. You're punishing me. I'm removing access, I said. To me. To my time. To the man you keep rating in public. You're being cruel. I'm being clear. I stood, took the small suitcase from the hall closet, and carried it upstairs. She followed, switching tactics like a good salesperson. On the landing, we can go to counseling. Maybe, I said, tossing shirts into the case. After respect returns. In the doorway, you know I love you. You love a version of me you can manage, I said. I'm putting that version in the trash. She went quiet. When I zipped the case, she said, people will think we're in trouble. You've been telling them that for years, I said. Now it's useful. At Mike's, he handed me a beer and a guest room key. House rule, he said. If you talk once per night. No loops. Agreed, I said. My first night there I slept sideways on the bed, box fan humming. In the morning Lauren sent a long text, then another. Around 10, a doorbell photo popped up, flowers on my porch. At noon a courier rang Mike's bell with an envelope for me. I opened it. A handwritten letter in careful script. I was wrong. I got scared. I let other people into our marriage. I will stop. I will honor you. Give me a month, 3, a year, I'll prove it. Under it, she'd tucked printed photos from our first months, me with more hair and her with a grin that made waiters add extra napkins. Mike read the first line over my shoulder and whistled. That looks expensive, he said. It's damage control, I said, laying the papers on the table. Apologies that only arrive after exposure aren't apologies. They're merchandising. What now? I keep moving, I said. I opened my laptop and booked 3 showings in Uptown for Tuesday. Then I texted a lawyer a friend had recommended. No courtroom talk, just clarity on options. Then I sent Lauren a single line. Respect is the base. You've been chipping it for years. At 5, she called. I let it ring out. She called again, then FaceTimed. I picked up audio only. Why are you doing this? She asked, voice soft like it was a machine setting. Because you turned our marriage into a performance review, I said. I'll stop talking to people. I'll delete group chats. I'll keep promises for yourself, I said. I'm not coming home this week. Are you seeing someone? Her voice sharpened like a knife pulled from a drawer. No, I said. I'm seeing my life. That's a line, she said. It's a boundary, I said, and ended the call. The next day, Dana knocked on my office door. You look lighter, she said, dropping into the chair and crossing her legs. Boston went well. The board wants you for a side advisory. I told them we can structure it so the firm benefits and you get your name on it. Sounds good, I said. Send the structure. She leaned forward. You also said no to that developer's fake urgency last week. You know how rare that is? You're finally not playing for applause. I ran out of energy for applause, I said. That tends to happen around 40, she said. Keep your head. Don't get sucked into home theatrics. Already implemented a no theater rule, I said. That night, Lauren left a bag on Mike's porch. His doorbell camera pinged. Inside, my favorite takeout, a small bottle of wine, and a note. Thought of you. No pressure. Come home, let's reset. I texted her, appreciate the food. I'm not coming home. Saturday we talk. She replied with a heart. Then a line, I'll be better. I put the containers in Mike's fridge and went for a walk. The neighborhood was quiet, porches with flags and wind chimes. I remembered my guitar in the corner of our living room and went back for it. I set it up in Mike's garage, tuned the strings slow, played 3 chords until they stopped sounding like work. On Friday, Lauren texted me photos of the living room tidied to a showroom, candles lined up, the album again. Under it, I booked that same place for Saturday. 8 o'clock, please. I sent back. Saturday is for a conversation. At home. 10 a.m. She typed and erased, the dots bubbling like a boil. Then, fine. Saturday at 10 I pulled up to the house. She'd staged it harder than last time. Coffee brewing, album open, guitar moved to center stage like a hostage, her dress 1 level softer. She started first. I was wrong, she said, eyes on mine. I got scared and I tried to control instead of trust. Give me a month, 3, 6. I'll prove I can be who you need. By Saturday, you've had years. Let me pause the story for just a second. If you're still here, please hit the like button. It really helps YouTube recommend this story to more people. Thank you so much for your support. Now, let's get back to the story. I didn't know I was hurting you, she said. You did, I said. That's why you chose audiences. You wanted support for a story where you carry a man who isn't enough. And you picked the timing of your list to clip me at my best. That wasn't an accident. I wanted your attention, she said. You never hear me when I ask nicely. I hear you now, I said. And I'm treating you like an adult. Actions have consequences. Her face moved through 3 expressions in 1 second. Which are? I'm moving out, I said. I looked at places. I'm signing a lease today. I spoke with a lawyer this week. Documents will be filed soon. You gave me 8 days. I used them to decide what I want. She stared like I'd spoken a language she hated. You can't just blow up a marriage. You already did the hard part, I said. You broke respect. I'm just closing the site. She tried to pivot into memory. Ethan, our first years. I remember, I said. I also remember how I stopped running because it annoyed you. How you arranged headaches when Mike invited us. How you smiled at me and then cut me down in rooms I wasn't in. I grew down for you. I'm done. We can grow, she said. Together. I already grew. Back into myself. I said, standing. I won't stay with someone who doesn't respect me. So that's it. She gestured at the album, the coffee, the dress. You walk out. You set the deadline, I said. I'm just on time. She followed me down the hall, still pitching. What am I supposed to tell people? The truth, I said. It'll be a new genre for that audience. At the door I paused, turned, and set my key on the console. I'll send a mover for my things. Please pack what's mine. I'll inventory and confirm. We won't do another scene. You're cruel, she whispered. I'm precise, I said. That's new for me at home. Outside, I didn't slam the door. I drove to Uptown and signed a lease on a small place with light in the mornings. Then I booked the movers and sent my lawyer the green light. By Sunday, I had a couch, a bed, a coffee maker, and my guitar on a stand by the window. I ran the lake path at dawn and ate breakfast without a witness. Mike came by in the afternoon with a toolbox and a grin. You look like a man who asked for receipts, he said. I finally collected them, I said. On Monday, Dana clapped once in my doorway. Advisory contract approved. Your name on the letterhead as consultant. We'll keep it clean. I'll earn it, I said. You already did, she said. Also, you seem taller. I'm exactly the same height, I said. Then you should buy new pants, she said, and left. Lauren tried one more pass that week. She showed up at Mike's Saturday morning, hair pulled back, sneakers on like she'd just finished being casual. I saw her through the window and met her on the porch. We need to talk, she said. I drove across town. I need space, I said. Leave. I'm not leaving until. Then I'm leaving, I said. I stepped past her on the porch and walked to the sidewalk. She followed. Where are you going? To do my day, I said. You have yours. This is your marriage you're throwing away in the street. You threw it out at work, I said. I'm just moving the trash to the curb. She froze. Neighbors 2 doors down pretended to water a plant. She lowered her voice. Please. I said no, I told her. Respect that at least once. I kept walking. She didn't follow. That night she sent one more long message. I didn't reply. Tuesday morning, day 8. I went back to the house at 9 for the final talk she'd demanded. She'd staged again, but this time there was a new prop, a printed schedule she must have made at 3 a.m., a month of U.S. time, penciled in runs together, date nights, even a guitar night with a hand-drawn treble clef. It would have been cute if it weren't so on brand. She started before my coat was off. Give me time. A month, 3 months, a year. I'll show you. I'll stop talking to anyone about us. I'll start running with you. I'll put your name first. Anything. I listened, standing. When she wound down, I put my keys on the table, flat on the wood. You gave me hundreds of chances, I said. I took them. And every time you chose control over respect. People who respect don't drag their partner in public and don't deliver ultimatums in the middle of critical work. I spoke to a lawyer. The documents will be filed this week. We're finished. She took a step back like the room had tilted. We can grow. I already did, I said. Back into myself. I won't remain with someone who lays out a test like I'm an employee and calls it love. I'll tell everyone you walked, she said, voice brittle. You've been telling everyone a story for years, I said. This part will be accurate. I picked up the guitar case from the corner. Her eyes went to it, then back to me. You don't even want to try, she said. 1 month. You had years, I repeated. I'm done. I walked to the door. She didn't follow. When the latch touched, I turned and said one last thing. You wanted a deadline, I said. I met it. I left the key on the console and went down the steps without a sound. The sky over the lake was that clean winter blue that doesn't try to be pretty. My car started on the first turn. I didn't look back at the house. I didn't need to. The stage was empty. I moved into my new place that day. The movers did the heavy lift. I did the details. My guitar leaned by the window like an old friend who'd never blamed me for anything. Mike hung a mirror with me and told me it was off by a 1/4 inch. I told him to live with it. 6 weeks later, I had a rhythm, runs at dawn, work that didn't own me, dinners that weren't negotiations. The hospital advisory went live with my name on the letter. Dana stopped by my desk once a week to throw me something sharp and trust one wouldn't dull it. On Sundays, I met a neighbor, Claire, a physical therapist who read more than I do and laughs quietly. We take our time. No theater. Lauren's name still shows up in my inbox sometimes. Short messages asking about a document or a piece of mail. I answer those questions, period. I don't do memory laying. A mutual friend told Mike she'd scaled back the salon monologues. I didn't clap. I'm not an audience anymore. I picked up a used truck, not shiny, reliable. I kept the guitar by the window and played it most nights. Mike jokes that I still play like an architect, measured, precise, no wasted movement. I tell him precision is underrated. Every now and then I pass the tower where those contracts got signed. It's still there, still glass and steel in views. That day on the 42nd floor, Lauren tried to turn my life into a report card. It was the last time I took a test I didn't write. I'm not interested in being kept. I'm interested in being respected. The rest, the running shoes, the guitar, the work under my own name, are just what happens when you stop asking permission to be yourself.